Welcome back to Tied Up with the Morgans. Today's a little bit different than normal. It is, right now it's actually 20 degrees. It's not bad. This morning was 0, but I love camping and I haven't camped a whole lot in the last few years. We've took the kids camping last year a few times and we've done some camping, but nothing like I used to do. And I was never a professional. I am an Eagle Scout though. I got to throw that out there. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'm proud of that. And I had great leaders. It was through our church, and we had very great leaders that took us camping and taught us a lot. And I learned a lot. And I want to teach all that to my kids. And there's a lot I don't know yet that I'm still learning. Anyways, it's cold and we're outside. Tonight, I'm going to sleep out in the woods with no tent and no sleeping bag. And my cousin Christian, who lives a few minutes from here, you can get to his house that way, straight through the woods, is going to be doing the same thing on his side of the property. And kind of a little challenge. We have about 45 minutes till dark. So it is getting dark quick. Fortunately, the snow gives off some good light, so we still have that to work with. But plan is get into the woods, find a spot, clear the snow, build a fire, build a shelter, and after all that, get as much wood as possible to burn through the night. And I think I should be all right through the night. Tonight's low will be maybe 18. We're gonna be getting snow from pretty much 6 p.m. on. I'm not too worried about the snow. I would rather it be snowing than it be a clear night. It's always more cold that way. So that's the plan. And we're gonna head in the woods now and get started. The tools that I'm bringing with me are my knife, a bow saw, a hatchet, headlamp, and a ferro rod to start the fire. And we'll probably talk about some fire starting topics. Again, I'm not an expert, need to throw that out there right now, but I spend a lot of time outdoors, I've camped a lot, and I know a lot about plants and stuff. So those things help because you start to learn what a great fire starter is, what's not a good fire starter, how to find, dry wood, not green wood, especially when there's no leaves, all of that. So that stuff will help me out, especially when trying to get this fire started. But we got to get to the woods. We're running out of time. Okay, trying to pick a spot and get all this done before dark. Pretty difficult. Really, behind me, there are a lot of good potential spots. Let's take a look at them and see the pros and cons. So right here is an eastern cottonwood that blew over. Some thoughts I have, and there's a whole bunch of dead red pine trees. One thought would be to make a little lean-to. I'd be blocked from any wind there, and I could have the lean-to kind of protecting this side as well. Move this stuff around, build a fire there. My concern, and that'd be the same thing on this side. I've seen people do this. There's a really big YouTube channel you've probably heard of called Outdoor Boys. Awesome channel. I love watching his videos. That's probably why I feel like I can do this, is just from watching YouTube. But I've seen him find something like this where the tree blew over and builds a fire in there. Takes a long time because you want to heat that ground up. And then he's done a couple different things. I've seen him where he'll then get a bunch of straight logs and throw across and sleep on the log. So it's like heated underneath. The other thing I've seen him do is move the fire out. So the ground is cold, or the ground is warm, sorry, and just sleep on that warm ground. So I thought about this. I thought this is actually a good spot. My concern is this part of the property is pretty wet. Naturally, there's a lot of springs. And I think if I do that, once I warm that ground up, I think I'm going to be sleeping in mud. And that's not going to be good. So we're going to keep looking. In this area, it looks nice. There's tons of great wood, so I'm not worried about that. I have a lot to burn. But the problem is in here, a couple of things. One is a lot of work to find a clear spot, but the main thing is you see all of these dead pine trees that have fallen. There's still quite a bit left standing, and I don't want to be under any of those when they fall. The majority of them are down, but that's something to look for, is you don't want to be sleeping under a widowmaker. So I think we're going to keep moving. A big advantage I have is I know the woods. This would be more challenging not knowing the woods at all, right? You'd have to really hike to find your spots. I kind of went into this knowing some good spots and what's around there, especially when it comes to starting fires. I know where there's some cedar trees, cedar bark, really good fire starter. I know where there's cattails, a good fire starter. And then all of the herbaceous plants even that kind of die off. The grasses, right? Japanese stiltgrass. I hate it, but it's going to be a good fire starter this time of year because it's not holding much moisture. The stem will be holding more than the leaves would, but either way, it's brown, it's going to burn. So that's another good fire starter. And grapevines. There's a lot of grapevines around here. They're a great fire starter as well. That bark peels right off. So it helps that I know these woods and I know where I'm going to be looking for a good fire starter to just start with my ferro rod. There are a lot of other great fire starters, and I'm sure you're thinking of them, right? You think of birch, I think poplar. There's just a lot of other good fire starters, but everything I listed is stuff I know we have around here. So there are a lot of other great fire starters, but those are the things that come to mind when I think of starting a fire. And I got Ty with me, my helper. Ty loves to camp. Another good fire starter, which I've been seeing on some of these red pines, is lichens. As long as it's dry, not covered in snow, lichen is very good. And then, of course, you have fatwood, which I've heard is far better in the south than it is here, but there's still fatwood here. You'll find it in red pine, white pine, not as much in Norway spruces, but which that's a Norway spruce here. But you'd find it in dead branches like this. Just kind of cut off here, and in there you'll find some good fatwood resin in the red pine and the white pine. Back to this eastern cottonwood, I was thinking a good spot would even be between these two trees. There's a dead red pine and a dead eastern cottonwood that have been both blown over, and I thought that's high enough I could lay right in here. I would put down a bunch of Norway spruce branches and sleep on that and put a roof above and have a fire right here. The only reason I'm not doing that is that would pretty much only be heating either my feet or my head. I would rather my heat source heat one half of my body, one side of my body, if that makes sense. So like say I was laying here, the fire's here, it's going to be heating whichever side's facing it. So it sounded good, but I don't think that's going to work. So I think we're going to do right here up against this maple. I think I'm going to lean a stick into here and have a little lean-to here and have a fire here. And I have access to a lot of this dead wood. And there seems to be no widowmakers. And I want to show you here these tiny little sticks that break under us can support Ty. He's climbing to get sticks off of a Norway spruce. That's good, Ty. Come on down. I'm afraid you're going to fall and get scraped pretty good by one of these if they break. Building the shelter is not going as well as I would like, but that's okay. Ty's helping me build it. He's doing a great job. Ty's actually doing most of the work on the shelter. He's working very hard. He knows I showed him a picture of a lean-to, and he's getting all the sticks. He's getting a whole bunch of like pine branches or spruce branches, I should say. And so he's going hard on that. Right now we are collecting some good fire starter. We got some good dry grass, and then I found a dead maple here that the bark's just peeling off. Nice and dry bark. Build our fire on top of that. So yeah, it's a standing dead red maple. Lots of good dry bark. And yeah, it'd be dry wood as well. I could push it over if I wanted, but I think we're pretty good on wood. Here we are at an eastern red cedar. You can see this bark just peels right off. And I got a whole bunch in my pocket. Really don't even need this. We have plenty of fire starter, but we're just grabbing everything we can to make the bird's nest. We got some cattail fluff as well. And I already broke one rule, and that is you don't want to get sweaty. And I have my hat on and I'm sweating, and that's not good because you know, you get cold later. But I think I'll be all right tonight. All right, build a little bird's nest right here. We have some cattail fluff, some lichens, some cedar bark, and some grasses. Okay, Here, I'll help you out. Ty is very determined.
Oh.
Yeah, you want to hold it nice and close. And then you can also go like this. Watch. Here, put this right here. Hold that there and then go like this. Try to slide it up and down. Well, Ty did a really good job. Didn't quite get it. And I was able to get it on the first strike. So Ty's excited.
Hey, Dad.
What do you want to do?
Can I have some drink under this firewood?
You want to make some drink, and before that he said he wants to make some soup. What we need to do is get our wood ready, and we need to start fueling this fire. So let's get some more wood, Ty. We are not prepared for that. This will go fast.
Yep, you have to do real fast.
Real fast, yep. Ty has been a trooper. All right, got the fire. We weren't as prepared as we should have been. You know, we've been all over. Ty has been a real trooper. We have hiked all over the woods. Done a lot of hiking in the snow with the snowsuits, snow boots. And here's the shelter here. I put this and this one up. And a couple here, the bigger ones. But the rest, Ty did all on his own. And it's been amazing watching him.
And we can sleep too.
And he wants to sleep in here with me. He's convinced he's sleeping with me tonight. We'll deal with that when we get there. Ty's gonna work on the shelter right now. Ty, what's this for?
We can sleep.
Yeah, is it for a pillow?
Yep.
Okay, so he's working on getting that. I'm gonna feed the fire and get a whole bunch of wood ready, drag it over, make a big pile, and then start getting bigger wood for it. And then we will work on getting the shelter done. Ty here is doing all he can. You all right?
Yep.
You're tough.
This is really breaking.
Yeah, it breaks easy. I want to show you a tool here. So the fire, I do got to get moving on the fire, but that I'm very impressed with. I got this years ago on Amazon. American Tomahawk Company, Trail Boss. It was the cheapest tomahawk on Amazon. Maybe like 22 bucks or something. Made in Taiwan. I love it. It's got a real hickory handle. Nice. The fire is really going through the spruce and pine. I mean, it burns fast. Not any good hardwoods yet. But got a nice fire. And gonna just keep getting bigger and bigger wood. Pretty much what we did to start this was we built the bird's nest. I didn't really show all this because, you know, Ty's helping a lot and don't have much light right now. But anyways, you build a bird's nest with the different materials you have. And I took just one strike with a ferro rod right in the center of that, and it actually hit the cattail fluff, which then starts to go quick. I flip that over and then it burns right up through the bird's nest. And then I had a whole pile of small, tiny Norway spruce branches. But what was ideal is they all were covered in lichens. And it was off the ground, so none of them were wet. They were good and dry. And just feed that fire. And we went through everything we had, and now we're just kind of getting more. Ty's working on the bed over here. Ty's convinced he's sleeping out here with me tonight. And I mean, this is Ty. I'm being honest. I've been doing some video and walking around. And I helped him a little bit, but overall, Ty's doing a ton. I'm gonna work on the fire more, get some bigger wood ready. I got that tomahawk and this nice bow saw right here. I got this from Forestry Suppliers, 24-inch Baco. Really like it. And you can change the blade tension right here. But yeah, nice saw, and you can change the blade that way as well. And yeah, so we're gonna get some bigger firewood because we're gonna need a pile. And my plan is to have a pile of logs right here to kind of build a shield, a reflector almost. to kind of direct that heat towards us. Well, everything's going well. I'm starting to just get a little pile of wood. I'm gonna keep getting a bunch, that way we have wood all night long. Let me think. There were some things I wanted to share. One thing that's important if you're doing this is you need to know how to find dry and dry wood that's not, green or wet. So the first thing you're doing is you're looking when there's snow off the ground, right? You don't want to be looking on the ground because it's going to be wet. So you're looking up off the ground, right? So you can tell in these are all dead, right? But in the summer, the spring, you can always tell when a stick breaks, it sounds, whenever you snap a stick, it has that sound. I don't know how to explain it, but that, right? More of like a crisp. Whereas if it's green, it doesn't make that noise. But when it's cold like this, green or not, it's gonna make that same snap or crack noise, okay? So that's something you have to consider. But with green wood, if I were to bend this, it would probably remain attached. It does not have a clean break, whereas dry wood does. So that's a little thing you can go by, right? Is if you break it and it's still attached and you got to twist and turn and whatever, it's probably green and not good to use. Nice stuff. These dead things here, right? All these dead trees are good too, because this one's off the ground a bit, but there's a bunch of snow on top. The inside of it will be fine. You get a good enough fire, that'll be okay. If you have some bigger sticks that might be on the ground that are dead, the inside of it will be dry. So you can kind of put the stick on its side, use your hatchet, go right down the middle and get that dry wood to help get your fire started. So those are just some tips, things that, little tricks, I guess. But yeah, I have to say I'm really impressed with this. I don't even need this bow saw. I used it a couple times, but honestly, the hatchet's all I need. This thing is sweet. Never used it. I keep this in my Gladiator in the back seat, under the seat, along with a bunch of other emergency supplies if I ever needed it. And yeah, so I'm very impressed with this. Ty's been climbing and breaking off a whole bunch of branches. Yep, I'll grab it. Thank you. All right, I just took down this Norway spruce. Reason is we have a lot of really big Norway spruce and a lot of young ones. A lot of young ones around here. And this one is growing very close to this Chinese chestnut. And a lot of the branches aren't doing too well. Some self-pruning, I think, is what's happening. And anyways, this seemed like a good one to take out. I'll be able to use the branches to finish off the shelter. And like I said, it's growing so close to this, straight up through it. It's cut down, but it's just standing because the branches are stuck in here. So I'm very cautious and careful about which ones I take down. I don't really want to take down any of these living trees for just a fun little night, right? It's not a real survival scenario, but I do need to get a good shelter, and rather than just hacking away at these living ones, I figured I'd take one that is not in an ideal spot. And like I said, there's Norway spruces all around here. They regenerate very easily, so I think it makes sense to take this one, and I'll drag it over to the campsite, chop off all the limbs, and use them on the shelter. By the way, my helper just went inside a little bit ago, and it's really been snowing good. Ty was a machine tonight. He is amazing for 5 years old. He's really learning a lot, loves to play and work hard, and I think he had a fun night with me. He was really upset he couldn't sleep with me, but he's just 5. It's not yet. If we had a tent and a sleeping bag, I think he'd be fine. But no tent, no sleeping bag, it's a different game. So maybe if I get proficient enough at this and I'm confident enough in my skills, I could create a shelter and warmth for him that I know he'd be all right. But for now, I don't want to do that to him. This thing just continues to surprise me. It is just light work, taking the tree down and then coming through here. I don't have a tripod with me, but I can't do this with one hand, but pretty much I'm just standing and coming through here with two hands, and just branches come right off, and we'll get those all in the shelter. All right, well, everything is going well. Got warm, so I took the coat and the hat off, but here it is. Really simple, but there is probably 8 inches of Norway spruce branches on this, and I need to fill in some more gaps still, but it's thick. There's a lot of them. What I would do differently, I made it too deep, and my thought was I wanted enough room, so I added those 2 main beams. And Ty kept talking about wanting it to be big enough for the both of us, so I just said, yeah, let's do it, you know. But obviously I'm not gonna have my 5-year-old sleep out here tonight, so without a sleeping bag or tent. So my thoughts, it is deep, doesn't need to be that deep, so I'm gonna clean up a bit in here and get more of these spruce branches here, and I will kind of stuff it from in here as well. I'll make a little wall, almost like a debris shelter they call them, and I will stuff that side full also. And then I'll put a bunch down on the floor here, or on the ground, to lay on top of to make it a little more comfortable and try and insulate me from this snow. But yeah, I mean, that's it. All right, the shelter's done. I might add some more spruce branches. I think they call them boughs, inside here to sleep on, but it's pretty well insulated. Got a good fire. I need to get a lot more wood though. Working on that. Kind of building a little, just stacking it up around the fire, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so I'm just gonna get more wood, and that's pretty much it before bed, I think. Gonna actually meet up with cousin Christian here in a bit. We're gonna just drink some little tea before bed, and yeah, I think that might be it, you know. Maybe have some jerky, some beef sticks, and drink something good and get a good night's rest. Probably be waking up every 2 hours would be my guess. As the fire dies down, I'll just throw more wood on. That's why I want to get a nice big pile to just, you know, throw 2 pieces on, stir up the coals, stoke the fire, and yeah. All right, so I didn't really build up the shield I was planning on, a little reflector, heat shield, whatever you want to call it, but it is just cool to see here. Everywhere inside of the wood, there's no snow, and right outside of it, there's snow. But got a lot of wood. Christian was here. We were hanging out by the fire, cutting some wood together, and just getting ready for the night. He went back to his shelter to get his fire going again, and yeah, that's probably it for the night. It's only 16 right now, so it's not bad at all. This morning, like I said, was 0 degrees, so much warmer now. Yeah, that's where we're at. Mostly have a red maple with some red pine around here, and this should be plenty for the night. Like to get this nice. I'd like to move it a little closer. I think I would do that next time, but it'll work fine for tonight. There is a lot of heat in here. Feels real nice in there. I think I'm gonna sleep just great. It's pretty late though. I need to get to bed. It is 1 a.m. So I think really the key is you just stay up all night and you're not gonna freeze. But really it is time to get to bed and get some sleep. But I love just seeing the smoke here and the warmth feels great. I built up this wall a little better. And it might be a little too close, but we'll deal with that. So far, I haven't been cold at all. Boy, this flame really adds like 30 years, doesn't it? That light. But yeah, haven't been cold at all, but I've been moving the whole time, right? So right now I'm just kind of melting the snow off of my pants, and then we'll get right in my little shelter behind me. The gear that I have is nothing special, right? I got a headlamp, I have my Carhartt coat, I have a thick hoodie and a, thick long sleeve under that, and then just long underwear, and pants that are lined, fleece lined pants, and I have on my hunting bibs. And then I do have good boots. I have some good, they're Eddie Bauer, they're nothing crazy, but I wore these when I went to Fairbanks, Alaska, and they did great. They're pretty thick, and they have I can't remember the fill, but they're very warm. So I think that's probably the best gear I have. I do have very good mittens as well, but I just left them in the house. I don't know if I need them. If I needed them, I'll just go and grab them. But I don't think I need them. My hands have been fine. I have some decent gloves, and I'll be sleeping next to this warm fire. So that's it for my gear. I showed you the little hatchet I'm using, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So pretty simple. I have a lot of other stuff I could have used, but I wanted to kind of do as little as possible, and I think we'll be just fine. Really comes down to a good shelter and a good fire, and we have that. Fire's roaring. I put a good amount of wood on here before bed, and I think I have plenty more wood. We'll feed it throughout the night, but I think I'm gonna get some sleep now. Update. Very, very cozy. Very, very warm. This worked out perfect. My backside's probably gonna get a little cold, but the front is perfect. There's a nice root right where my head would be, so the ground kind of comes up and it makes a perfect natural pillow. So yeah, it's a good night. Well, I did survive the night. Didn't sleep a whole lot. Was up probably every hour. I was hoping to be up every 2 hours, but I was really up every hour. Ended up going in the house at 7 once the sun was coming up. And yeah, we're gonna go over that more in a minute, but have to take care of the animals. My phone ended up dying too, so I didn't get any good video this morning. But I knew it would die because it didn't charge last night, and I was using it for the camera. But anyways, now we gotta go take care of this pretty girl here and take care of the chickens and the goats, and then we'll go check out the shelter and tell you how the night went. It sure is a beautiful morning. We got quite a bit of snow. My tracks from last night, Ty and I went down here, are almost covered, but yeah, we really got a good bit of snow last night. The lowest it reached was 15 degrees. This is where it was. Burned up most of my wood. Not all of it. well protected in here. This worked out great. Easy to make. Ty was able to help. Really happy with this. Helps having these evergreens around. So what would I do differently? Well, I would have more insulation on the ground for sure, between me and the ground. I even before bed grabbed a bunch more of the Norway spruce branches to kind of create more of a buffer between me and the ground, but it still was cold on that ground. So that would be one. The other thing would be I made it too big, and I knew that there's just a lot of space in there that I don't need. So I tried to pack it full, didn't pack it well enough. So that's the other thing. A lot of space that I didn't need. I wanted it more close. And I could have sealed a lot of air gaps better. Could have done it a lot better. It'd be easier, you know, with leaves, right? You could make a nice debris shelter if you have access to leaves, which right now everything's covered under 8 inches of snow. So that didn't work. Well, the other thing, I would find a way next time, and I wanted to, I didn't have the time, I should have made it work, is to start my fire and then move my fire and the coals and everything, shovel it, move it, and I would then just sleep on that warm ground and have a shelter as well. I could build the shelter over it or whatever, but that ground is still giving off a lot of heat, and that would be ideal to sleep on. So that's probably what I would do next time. I was cold. I'm not gonna say I wasn't. It wasn't the easiest thing, that's for sure. It wasn't the worst night's sleep I've had. Definitely wasn't the best, but it was fun, and that was the point of all this, was to have fun. I'm waiting to hear from cousin Christian. Haven't heard how it went for him. He had a real nice setup too. But yeah, I'd definitely do it again. I'd be more prepared. And I had a great time, learned a lot, and just gonna keep doing more of these. I like the snow, I like winter camping, and so we're gonna be doing more of these. Don't know anytime soon, but yeah, it was good, and I would do it again. I learned a lot. So I think that's all we got today. I hope you enjoyed it. I apologize, I didn't have a tripod with me, so we didn't get any footage of me doing anything. It was really more so me just talking. But that's all we have. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. Let me know how you liked this one. This was totally different, and I'd like to do more. I'm not an expert. That's not the goal here. If you're looking for an expert, you know, there's plenty of YouTube channels that are experts on this stuff. Plenty. I think my favorite, and everyone seems to know this, is Outdoor Boys. Massive channel. He goes all over camping in the craziest weather. Really cool guy, from what it seems like, you know. So that's a cool channel. But yeah, this is just kind of the average Eagle Scout trying this stuff out, right? So when I was an Eagle Scout or a Scout, we never went camping without a tent or a sleeping bag. So we're having fun with it.
There she is. Got a whole room. Luxury, you might say.
Ty is teaching Thea how to climb. It's really funny. Every little stick can support their weight. I'm aware it's a little dangerous. They aren't going too high. You're done. kids had to come check it out now that it's finished. You all right?
Yeah, that's moving.
Ty was real happy to see it because he saw it from the beginning. He did a lot of the work. He's already getting back to work. It's a real cozy spot. I already addressed what I would change, but yeah. Very, very simple. If I can do it, anyone can. It is nice how there's no snow in here other than what was on the ground. This all catches that, and then I imagine that would help insulate it, similar to an igloo. And normally we have great snow for igloos here. We have like a wet, good packing snow, and this time it's not that at all. And we've had this snow for, I believe, a little over a week now. And it's just not good for that, because that would be the ideal setup at night, like last night, would be to build an igloo with good packing snow. They stay nice and warm in there. I've built plenty of them. They're easy to do. They're gonna take longer than this. This was a very fast setup. You can see Ty's still working on it. Ty's still adding to it. Hey Ty, do you like your shelter?
Yep.
Was it?
We make it more. It's bigger.
We're making it bigger.
Yep. And Mom can sleep with us now.
So Mom can sleep with us. Okay. Ty wants the whole family in here. He was pretty upset that he had to go in last night. You want to make a fire? Maybe we're doing round 2 tonight. Who knows? But I think that's all we got for you guys. So we will see you on the next video.